Everybody looks around for how to leave. Oh, I forgot. It's 2 buttons to click.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Maybe say bye when you've got that leave button ready to go and save everybody the awkwardness. HP, I wanted to ask you, since we're going to be talking once again this evening about Forrest Gump, I gotta go. Since we're now, no, God, we're not talking.
Wait, no. In all seriousness, we're talking about Lal Singh Chadha, right? We're not talking about Forrest Gump. Right. We're talking about the Indian version of Forrest Gump, which is so much better.
Yeah, it's such a grand experience for everyone.
It was epic.
Yeah. Wait, were you the only one that was on that episode with me?
No, it was me and Father Malone.
Okay, no, it was the 3 of us. Okay, I didn't. Mike and Heather were the ones who made the wise choice to not show up for that one.
I couldn't bear to see my Amir Khan like that. I couldn't do it.
I almost feel the same way about this movie. I just couldn't help but watch Chevy Chase be in something that's not good. Oh wait, that's pretty much Chevy Chase's entire career.
Oh,
I mean,
that's not true.
I mean, you didn't let me finish. After 89 is more what I was getting at. Like Chevy Chase in the 80s, it hits a little different than Chevy Chase in the 90s. That's all. And Chevy Chase in the 70s, but Chevy Chase post 89. What are we talking about that Chevy Chase made post 89 that anybody likes?
Community.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
I mean, okay, Father Malone, I figured you would say that, but that's okay. I will give you that. It's not terrible. But my point is Chevy Chase is known for a certain time and place as a comedian, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
He was past, his expiration date was up by 88. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I love Fletch Lives, and that came out in the 90s, so I got no fucking room to talk, period. But hey, it's the Culture Cast. I'm your host, Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by some friends of mine. Let's start with Heather Drain from MondoHeather.com and also Noise Junkies.
Hello. And I hear a rumor that some of my my brothers are with this that you guys already heard, so spoilers out. It's a Noise Junkies takeover tonight.
It's true. Also joining us from Noise Junkies, your friend and mine. He's not IBM, he's HP.
Woo, feeling groovy tonight, Chris. Good to see you.
And he's the guy who programmed this month, your friend and mine. I've never seen any of the movies this month, but he has. Your friend and mine, you've never seen's own Father Malone.
I'm in the driver's seat. I'm running the show. I'm the fucking president.
That's my favorite line. Like, how did you know?
The best part of the movie.
Oh my God.
And you know what, Father Malone? I'm just going to say it. I'm glad these aren't Elvis movies.
Oh, you just hush.
What was it? What was it last year?
What was it last year?
Yeah, boy. Isn't that great?
I have no idea. It was probably an actor or something.
Oh, no. How could we all forget? That was the first time I met HP. And that was when we came up with all those funny porn names, because they were all those movies about as they say in those movies, the fags. Because there were a lot of college and high school movies where they were saying that word a whole lot.
Heaven help us. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a month of prep school movies last year.
Yeah. Up the Academy.
Oh, my heart. Like, that's just...
Up the Ass Academy, I believe, was one of our porn parody titles.
I'm still trying to remember. We had one that it's legend, but none of us can remember what I specifically said. It involved something, colon, something.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was either, but, we'll get to that when we'll get to it. But on this episode of the Culture Cast, like Father Malone mentioned, he is in the driver's seat, folks, because it is You've Never Seen September, and we're going to be talking all about what, Father Malone? Tell us what we're going to be talking about.
A very rare and radiant subset of films, the sketch comedy movies. This is technically sketch comedy September. There are only really a handful of these that are just unrelated sketches in cinematic form that were released in theaters. And the granddaddy of them all is definitely the one we're talking about tonight, The Groove Tube.
You sure it's not movie 43?
Shut up.
Wow.
I mean that, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's the one that most people have heard of, if they've heard of any of these sketch comedy movies, only because of the visibility of the people that were in it at the time.
That makes me so incredibly sad to hear you say that.
I know. But to your point, this kind of movie does not exist now. I mean, it's a rarity. It was a rarity. I mean, it's a rarity, period.
Well, way to bring the room down. Jesus. Like
I know.
Yeah, this is also antidepressant month for some of us.
Well, I actually have a theory about that, Chris. I actually been thinking about that. The fact that we don't see any sketch comedy movies anymore like this. And I think part of it is because with social media, with apps like TikTok, everybody, you can just make your own little sketch comedy show on your phone just by stringing together 5 or 6 little, soundbite worthy segments. I don't know. Maybe that's just my theory, but it feels like, we've people have evolved past that in a way.
Yeah, I feel like it would be hard for me to justify going and seeing a movie that's an hour and a half long when you can watch Saturday Night Live. Like that's the thing. Like that I would say is the preeminent sketch anything right now and has been for a very long time. And I know, Father Malone, you're a huge fan of SNL as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie predates that and has one of their cast members in Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Saturday Night Live's been kicking around. It'll be 50 years in 2 years. There really is, every once in a while somebody will throw out a sketch comedy show. You know what? I'm not going to say that there's no point in doing sketch comedy shows because I keep seeing newer and newer ones, and I think they're all still really good. There are always good sketch comedy troupes coming up in the world. But as far as getting on the air and going up against, it's really hard to compete with Saturday Night Live as far as visibility goes. But, this came out in 1974, and, the history of this movie is that Chevy Chase and Ken Shapiro, the writer-director in this movie, they were in a comedy troupe. They had a theater, Theater One, I think it was called. And they started filming little sketches to play on video monitors when people would come to see it, and then they would gauge which ones people were really responding to, and then they eventually went and refilmed all of the funniest ones and turned it into this movie. Kind of what Monty Python did with And Now for Something Completely Different. Those were all tried and true sketches from the show, and then they just refilmed it and they threw it into theaters to make a quick buck.
Yeah, that's God, you just made my heart happy invoking Monty Python with that. That was so good. Now, I find it fascinating to think about why we don't see these kind of films. But the thing is, it is I think TV and stage have always taken precedent on that. Also, the fuel for a lot of sketch comedy is stuff that's very much of its era, and that's a little harder to translate, I think, in a film, because film, once it's out there, is something you can visit and visit and visit. Think about it. We revisited this film that originally was released in 1974. That's so cool. But there's also going to be things in this film, and a lot of these films like that for a lot of people are going to be they're not going to get it because it's making fun of something that was topical at the time. And I'm not talking politics. I'm talking advertising.
Yeah.
And I would say the majority. I mean, my experience. This is a movie I've been looking forward to seeing this movie for a long, long time. I'm a big, like Father Malone and probably the rest of us. I'm a big fan of sort of counterculture humor of the 60s and 70s. We talked about National Lampoon, Firesign Theater, groups like that. But so I was really excited to see this. But to your point, Heather, what you're exactly saying is a lot of this doesn't translate to a modern audience because these sort of sacred cows that they're taking on, it's either been done to death in the decades since this movie came out, or a lot of the targets have just aged themselves out of memory, if you will. A lot of the commercial parodies. Who's heard of a lot of these? Geritol. Is Geritol really are they even sold anymore in drugstores? Things like that. So I was a little surprised.
Geritol, but a very specific ad Geritol was doing. The phone book ad is the very specific ad they're parodying. You would have to have been around in 1973 to know what the fuck they're talking about. I think we do because or at least I do because I'm an old man. And
both of us.
You guys aren't old, please.
Yes, we are. So some of these commercials lingered on, the phrases lingered on, just sort of pop culturally, in the lexicon. So you would kind of know what the joke was, but my God, he shoots specifically at things, and I'm sure he's hitting them really hard, but that's 50 years later. I don't know these things, sir.
First of all, you guys aren't old. You'd be old if you were like, well, Heather, don't you remember this brand of ass book that was real popular with the housewives? Like, sure. No, you guys aren't old. Our American pop culture in the last 50 to 60 years has accelerated so much faster because we've gotten things like, you get television and you get home video and then you get the internet and et cetera, et cetera. So everything just moves a lot faster than it did 50, 60, 70, et cetera years ago. Also, do you think part of it, this is kind of a more like cynical reason and I know this is all before getting the movie, that part of the reason why this kind of like particular subgenre hasn't really transcended is that whenever a lot of the popular sketch shows have made movies, it's usually tapping into one specific character. And I mean, even if for better or for worse, I mean, like with SCTV, which for my money, that is my boo, my bae. I love it. I love Saturday Night Live, but Saturday Night Live is patchy because it's been around so long and consistently long too in its defense. But
it's literally like The Simpsons at this point.
And done live every single week.
Exactly. But SCTV is my heart, my soul. I love it. But I mean, they did Strange Brew, which is based on specific characters. Kids in the Hall, even when they did Brain Candy, it's still kind of set like a traditional film, all the Saturday Night Live movies.
I struggled with Brain Candy as a sketch comedy movie. Could I use it this month? And deemed it that I couldn't. That's too much of a narrative, that flick.
Yeah. But I respect your gumption. I respect your moxie.
But those examples are, characters that grew out of a particular form of sketch comedy, but when I think of a sketch comedy movie, I'm thinking of, like Father Malone said, like and now for something completely different, an episodic kind of like for lack of a better term, like Twilight Zone the movie, which is a series of perhaps disconnected, perhaps connected vignettes that comprise a whole. Whereas something like Strange Brew is taking that like one specific character set and making it into its own movie, but it's not really episodic in the way that like a Kentucky Fried Movie or this is. That's at least the way I think of it.
No, I know that. I'm not saying any of those movies are sketch comedies. My point is that I think it's easier for producers to see money being made if you have branded characters attached to a property. That's the thing. Like, we're talking about bigger budget movies. They see things as properties. They don't see it as film, which is gross. But that's actually going to something you said earlier, HP, that I love. Is I do find the whole counterculture era of, in general, with art and with comedy too, like very fascinating because you get so many great, like subversive, like just where you get to see comedy get really truly subversive and just bent and demented. It's like Mad Magazine is all of a sudden getting into the angel dust a little bit at times, and it's great. And I find the really obscure sketch comedy movies from the 70s really fascinating, and we can get into those later. But
if I because we've mentioned Strange Brew a couple of times, here's a digression. Steve DeJarnett wrote the initial draft of Strange Brew, and then he took that money and bought back his script Miracle Mile and made that movie on his own.
Oh no shit!
Oh yeah,
that's wow.
So Strange Brew, while I think is an okay movie, I adore because it gave me Miracle Mile. But anyway, sketch comedy.
But Househead the dog. I love Househead. Have you seen Strange Brew, Chris?
Nope.
Oh, dude.
But I have seen Night at the Roxbury.
Oh.
funny story.
That's all you need.
Chris, you'll appreciate this, having spent the last month talking about Mickey Rourke. The Watabi brothers, the
Butabi brothers.
The Butabi brothers. That sketch was based on the fact of Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell being at a club in Hollywood and seeing a guy basically doing that, bouncing his head like that, and they started making fun of the guy across the way, just sort of mimicking him. And then the guy's friend came over and said, "Hey, we got a problem here," and it was Mickey Rourke.
Oh wow! Yikes!
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Lucky you didn't punch him in the fucking face.
Oh yeah, could have happened.
You got a fucking problem here? You can imagine him. What accent would he use? Would he be playing his character from A Prayer for the Dying, or do you think he'd be doing something more akin to Johnny Handsome? I don't know what Mickey Rourke actually sounds like.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's ultimately it.
Man of many talents.
Anyway.
Speaking of a man of many talents, on this episode of the Culture Cast, we are talking about a film from 1974 that does feature Chevy Chase. It's called The Groove Tube.
Get ready for the biggest fun party ever. Most hilarious, wildest movie is here. The Groove Tube. But don't just take our word for it. The New York Times said, anyone who ever suffered that Chinese torture known as American television owes it to himself to see the Groove Tube. Playboy called the Groove Tube the most stinging assault on television since it was invented. The San Francisco Chronicle said, the Groove Tube is one of the funniest shows ever. The Saturday Review and Q Magazine called it outrageously funny. See your wildest TV fantasies come true in the Groove Tube.
It's really great. Really loved it. It was funny. It was really good.
I thought it was a riot.
What's crazy about it?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I really liked it.
I really liked it a lot.
The biggest, most hilarious, wildest movie is here. The Groove Tube.
So it's written by Ken Shapiro, Lane Sarasona, and Rich Allen. It's directed by Ken Shapiro, and it stars Ken Shapiro, along with Richard Belzer, Chevy Chase, Buzzy Leinhart, and a bunch of other people, but primarily Ken Shapiro, Richard Belzer, and Chevy Chase. And hey, two of those three ain't bad. So maybe bad is not even the word I would use.
Don't you come for my Belzer. I'm just
I love Richard Belzer.
You guys know that Richard Belzer is cousins with Henry Winkler?
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Also, hey, here's another weird thing. Richard Belzer is the first celebrity I saw when I moved to Los Angeles. When I was driving down Sunset Boulevard, and he was sitting in a cafe sipping a coffee, and I was like, "Oh my God, Belzer!" Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to keep the conversation.
That's why I could see Quentin Tarantino and be like, "Yeah, whatever." If I saw Richard Belzer, I would legit mark out. I'd be like, "Holy fuck, it's the bells!"
Remember when Hulk Hogan put you in a chokehold?
You know, he used that money he won in that lawsuit and bought this estate. It's his Hulk Hogan estate.
Listen here, brother. I don't like none of that, brother. God. Well, Father Malone, I'll kick it to you first. Groove Tube. Why are we watching it? You kind of already mentioned that, but tell me a little bit about the first time you saw this movie, what you thought then, and what you thought now rewatching it for the Culture Cast. I'm going to ask all three of y'all the same question, so get yourselves ready.
Like most movies, I saw this one too young, but did not see this in the theater. This was kind of a late night movie. This is a movie that I've been obsessed with Saturday Night Live since I can think. One of my earliest, most formative memories is Dan Aykroyd bleeding all over the kitchen as Julia Child in probably a rerun around 78 or 79 of that sketch. But I remember being awake and watching that and everyone uproariously laughing, and it didn't seem scary, although it should have. Anyway, so Saturday Night Live has been in my consciousness forever. So I've always been drawn to sort of sketch comedy and sketch performers and this weird phenomenon of a sketch movie, because there were a few by the time I had seen this one. Kentucky Fried Movie was pretty much everywhere growing up, thanks to the success of Airplane and the later Zucker movies. But this was one that nobody talked about, and I kind of caught it late one night, and it was almost as if it didn't happen, because there's no internet then, and if you didn't know the movie, you didn't know the movie. There was no resource really to go look it up. And but here was a sketch comedy movie with Chevy Chase from Saturday Night Live, and it was all scatological. And I think this is the first movie I saw a penis on screen. I think full frontal nudity. This is the first experience with that. I think the movie is of its time, that early 70s counterculture comedic scene that was going on. So as you said, HB, a lot of these sacred cows have already been obliterated. So rewatching this movie some 40 years on, it's a bit of an odd experience. most of the jokes don't land if there are jokes there at all. But I still, on a couple of scenes while rewatching it, was brought right back to age 11 or something when I saw the film for the first time, and the relevance of the movie sort of struck back home to me too, that there was nothing like this in 74 when this movie came out. And you have to remember that, television didn't really sort of come of age until the 50s, and this was the generation that were actually raised by it. And here's sort of the first cinematic attack on television. Saturday Night Live would specialize in satirizing television and television culture because it was everywhere. But this seemed to do it not only first, but harder and meaner. And so that appealed to young me. Looking back at it now, like I said, not a lot of it works, but the intent still shines through.
Heather, what about you?
First of all, I loved all of that. Mad respect. And especially, I think we all... anybody who grew up watching cable TV, especially, we all have those memories of when you first see nudity. You're like, oh my God, a boob. And then Full Frontal, that must have blown your mind. Holy
my God,
crap.
yeah, because when I was, 11, HBO, what year is this? 84 we're talking about. The idea of even nudity on television was absurd. It never happened. You would need to have paid for the Playboy channel or something. I mean, we had HBO by then, but it wasn't like you can see on just regular television nowadays. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue, please.
No, and especially as someone who I grew up watching SNL as well, and even reruns, because I remember doing impersonations of the two Wild and Crazy Guys, because I love Steve Martin and I love Dan Aykroyd a lot. They were two of my favorites, and that was really inappropriate. I had a really good track record as a child of quoting things that I look back on now that I should not have been doing. But anywho, I was so glad to be on this episode, because this is a movie I've read about for years, but I'd never got around to watching it. I've actually seen some of the more, kind of, as I alluded to, deeper cuts, Cracking Up, the 1977 sketch film, not the Jerry Lewis film that's a few years older, American Raspberry, The Boob Tube, which I do not recommend at all. I do have the big box VHS, and that's beautiful, but that's it. Don't see it.
What year is The Boob Tube?
It's definitely 70s. I want to say.
I'm just wondering if it predates this movie, and that's why they referred to this movie as the Groove Tube, or they were just being groovy.
Groovy. It may be around the same time, because my gut is 74, 75.
75.
So pretty close.
Nah.
But
the Boob Tube was attempting to capitalize on this movie.
Yeah, and it even has fake commercials and all that, and it's not good. It's not good. But even there's one called SOS, Screw on Screen, where Screw Magazine did their own sort of variation, and that's actually really, really good, because that's,
wow.
I mean, you want to talk about some subversiveness, you got to get people like Al Goldstein, who put his money where his mouth is, and definitely, like Larry Flint, did some jail time and dealt with legal issues for fighting for the First Amendment, and it doesn't get much more countercultural than that. So I was like, ooh, the Groove Tube, this is the mother, this is the big daddy, the big kahuna, and it was I don't know, we'll get into it. There are things I really enjoyed about it. There are a few things I think are still really funny. I think it's one of those films I consider it's almost like a better historical piece and a better experiment than it is as a wholly successful film. But we can kind of get into the nooks and crannies. It is a trip to see baby Belzer and baby Chevy Chase, and there's two classic actresses of erotica in this film too, so I'll get into that later.
But Jennifer Wells, right? She's
yes,
the girl. Yeah, she was born an actress.
She's beautiful. Oh, she also had origins in sexploitation. She was in Joel Reed's Career Bed, which is a really good depressing movie. She's great in that. She's also one of the women on the cover of Are You Experienced, the Jimi Hendrix album.
See, this movie's historic.
HP, bring us home, my friend.
All right. Well, to echo the previous sort of remembrances, I also grew up with SNL. For me, it was, I remember like climbing into my parents' bed late on a Saturday night and like basically falling asleep to SNL, not understanding hardly any of the sketches, of course, but recognizing all the actors and knowing that it was funny because of the reactions of my parents and my oldest brother. But this, I said earlier, this movie has kind of been on my radar for a long, long time. I remember going to the video store back when this was before Blockbuster even, and there was the video cassette of the Groove Tube. They actually had it at this one place I used to go to called Tri-City Sales, and the picture for me was iconic of like it's sort of like a gorilla with a TV for a head, and I think at that point I must have already seen Kentucky Fried Movie. So somehow in my mind, I knew that there was some relation there. I mean, it's loose, but I'm sure they're probably just capitalizing on one another's sort of success, the iconic gorilla. But I always wanted to see it. And it was an interesting experience. Like I also, like we've been all saying, it misses the mark more often than it hits it, at least for someone watching it in 2023, some, whatever it is, 50 years after it was, made. But I also want to echo what everyone else is saying, which is I even though I didn't love, the movie as a whole, I really appreciated the subversive, aspect to it. The fact that they obviously thought, they were making something very sort of subversive and counterculture and attacking all of these sort of norms at the time. I really dug that. I dug the spirit of it more than I dug the comedy of it, if that makes any sense. But it actually, and it got me excited to sort of seek out. I mean, there's a bunch of these types of sketch comedy movies that I have yet to see. There's one called Tunnel Vision, which also features Phil Proctor from the Firesign Theater. I think Joe Flaherty is in that, Elaine Boozler. There's some interesting people in it. And I know there's kind of a narrative sort of thread that runs through it, which I guess is a little more sophisticated than the Groove Tube. And I'm sure there's many more that I've yet to discover. But, I was excited to watch it. Obviously, the experience was interesting in the modern day. But yeah, no, I'm excited to delve into it a little bit and see what everybody else thought of some of the comedy.
Speaking of some of the comedy.
Very little. Let's break it down.
So what's funny is, I actually remember downloading this movie a while ago, like long ago. I was scrolling through one of the many websites I go to watch movies on. This is an audio medium. They can't see that I wink.
Chris winks, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, oops. But I remember downloading it because actually for the reason HP said, because it had an interesting cover art. Like it's a gorilla with a TV set on its head, which is I like monkeys. I like gorillas, and so it seemed like, in the Groove Tube, interesting name. So I've had this sitting on my Plex server for couple years. And so when Father Malone programmed this month and that was one of the movies, I was like, oh, okay, I'll get to finally watch this movie I've literally had sitting on my Plex server for a couple years. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I think the issue is I think we've all kind of already said it. So just to get out in front of it like the rest of everybody else has, some of this is so specific, it's hard to really comment on it now. Like it was a parody of a commercial from the 70s. If you don't have a frame of reference for what the commercial is, you have to go and watch the commercial after you watch the movie and then rewatch the movie to understand what they were getting at, which is what I did. I essentially had to go and watch all the ads that they were parodying, and then I rewatched the movie so I could understand why they were doing this and what the parody was, which I think is important because, again, it puts it in the context of when this came out. So yes, in terms of the success that this had in 74, I understand why this was so well regarded, why fucking Gene Siskel gave it 3 out of 4 stars and said it was funny and he enjoyed the directions that it went and the subject material of the movie. He appreciated it. But in 2023, now I mean, some of it is funny because some of it doesn't rely on specific references to specific things, but in the same way that, like, coincidentally enough, I watched Scary Movie 3 over the weekend, which is my favorite of the scary movies. It has Charlie Sheen in it doing the hot, like your Father Malone, you're attempting to agree with me.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's my favorite as well. I love that one. That's the one with the 8 Mile parody, correct?
Simon Rex, Dirt Nasty. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's one bit in that, the Yahtzee bit, where he keeps hitting his head on the shelf above him, like we were playing a fun game, and then Yahtzee, and then he knocks him twice. Great stuff.
And that's the thing, like, but there are jokes in that movie that don't work now because they're specific references to specific things from mid 2000s, whenever Scary Movie 3 came.
Can I say something about that? The jokes in that movie and there's in Kentucky Fried Movie, it's another movie we're going to be talking about. There is a specific parody of a commercial in that movie as well. The thing is, context is fine, but it's not going to make it funny. Ultimately, the joke has to be funny.
Right.
You'll see what I'm saying in Kentucky Fried Movie, where the joke fucking makes me laugh every fucking time. Doesn't matter that it's a very specific commercial they're parodying. It could or could not be a commercial. Doesn't matter. The joke is the joke. And these jokes ultimately aren't that funny in this movie.
And that's the problem. I mean, again, Scary Movie 3 has a couple moments where it's specific things like, a Michael Jackson joke, but like the joke is still funny because the joke is funny. And that's and that is, you're right. That is the problem here. This movie is just not funny in a lot of ways. Like, it is funny, but it's more clever than it is funny. I think the things that they poke fun at and the ways that they do it are interesting and clever, but like laugh out loud funny. Like I laughed. I maybe laughed a couple times. And the question then becomes, is that the measure of a successful comedy, is how many times I laugh out loud? I don't think so. It's like, how many times am I scared when watching a horror movie? And is that the bar by which I measure? No, not really. It's whether or not I enjoyed the experience, at least for me, of sitting down and watching the movie, and would I do it again? I think the problem with GrooveTube is there's too many segments that don't land. It's like, I mean, this is like a microcosm of Tales from the Crypt. I can't endorse someone go back and watch Tales from the Crypt because it's a sketch horror show in a lot of ways. Like, it's an anthology, so every episode's different. And with GrooveTube, there are some segments you could watch out of this that are fine, but do you need to sit and watch the whole thing? That's the problem.
Well, as a curiosity, the answer is always yes. Like,
right.
As a curio, as a document of a time and a place, it is worth your time 100%. If you're looking to laugh even once, maybe. I don't know if you haven't seen this movie and have no reference for that time and place or love of that time and place, that you're going to get one laugh.
And that's a great point, Father Malone, where, as a curio, I think it has great value because it really is a time capsule of a very specific place and time. But part of my problem with the humor is, and maybe this is just because we've had 50 years to become jaded about comedy, and we've seen these essentially the same type of humor coming again and again over this time, is a lot of the jokes, a lot of the humor, it just seemed like I get the point of the joke, but then that segment goes on for another sometimes it feels interminable, but I get it. It's a parody of a cooking show, and this person's making a mockery of the kitchen and just making a mess, and it's all nonsense. Well, that I get it, but I don't need 7 minutes of that. Like I got the point of it in the first 2 minutes. Things like that.
MTV has rotted your brain. You just
brevity is the soul of wit, bro. Shakespeare said it best. It's the truth. Like we already mentioned the Dan Aykroyd, Julia Child thing. That's a better send-up of cooking shows than this is in this movie. Like, period. And that's a specific person that they're referencing. And I think it does a better job of encapsulating a certain kind of cooking show from a certain time and place than the cramp TV kitchen does. Because to your point, HP, just like the Dealers in Wasted segment in this, why does it need to be 15 minutes long? The joke wasn't funny in the first minute. It's not going to magically get better in the next 6.
Yeah, it felt
Exactly.
longer. Yeah, I mean, this movie's not even 80 minutes. This is a
It's
short.
it's barely over an hour. It's 72 minutes.
Yeah, it's a short feature, but it drags. And the thing is, like, the most important thing about comedy is comedy is timing. And when your timing is wonky, there's going to be an issue. I will say, I did the opening where they keep looping nature sounds and various nature shots during their whole 2001 thing. That shit kind of made me laugh. Repetition is a little funny to me sometimes.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's like when Mr. Show did their parody of Jesus Christ Superstar with Jeepers Creepers, and they keep looping that segment with David Cross, so it's like it goes on too long. That shit's hilarious. And Mr. Show's another great sketch comedy show, but
I wish they had made a movie.
they did. Run, Ronnie, Run.
Run, Ronnie, run, baby.
Run.
Thank you, Heather. Oh my God.
A sketch comedy movie.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
But Run, Ronnie, Run gives us Jack Black singing his little chimney sweep song. Was it like Kick a Cunt? Or whatever?
Yeah, Run, Ronnie, Run. Oh God, such a great movie.
Oh my God, that's. I'm trying to remember if it's in the show or the movie where he talks about having enteritis. It's the show. He's like, I suffer from a titillatus. But sorry, I digress. But no, and that's the thing. There are things attempted in this movie, even that I really liked. I mean, there's like a very experimental film flavor kind of throughout that I don't think you really see in the other sketch comedy movies, even the more obscure ones, like especially like the animation and like with the titles kind of intro buildup after you get the 2001. It's like got chroma key and superimpositions, and then there's like that whole sort of dream sequence that's animated in the middle of the dealers. And I actually looked up because I was so struck by the animation, is Pat O'Neill and Linda Taylor. And Pat O'Neill has more of a filmography, but Linda's I'm more interested in because her other two credits, she did animation for Cracking Up and Tunnel Vision. So I figured with the theme of this month, I thought that was very cool.
That's the best part of that entire segment.
Oh,
yeah, totally. I love the animation during the dealers. It was awesome.
That segment is like and it's the one where, like, when I watched the movie for the first time, I had the most promise because I was like, it's Richard Belzer and Ken Shapiro on screen. Like, here we go. And then it's just like, it's fucking to say it's meandering would be an understatement. It's just the worst part of this entire movie, I think, as far as I'm concerned.
Every beat in it should have been cut by half, I think. Like,
yeah, I agree. But one of the things I agree with you there. But one of the things I kind of liked about it is, in a funny way, it reminded me of the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers in the way that it was just kind of this dingy sort of look at these like low level dealers and like everything. I mean, just watching that segment, I felt like I had to take a shower because it was so, the apartment was so gross looking and dirty and but
yeah, it's my favorite part of the entire film, actually. Like, I think Chris, what you're saying is 100% true. It does not need to be 15 minutes. It should have been 7 minutes or 6 minutes, and we still could have gotten all of the beats that we get. It's just the jokes are delivered quickly and then interminably, unfortunately, because I like all of that. I like how dingy it is, and I like how ramshackle the meandering lifestyle of dealers and the bullshit that they have to deal with. One of the moments that actually makes me laugh in that movie is when they're driving and the guy says, Ken Shapiro says, hey, this is funny, the cop's following us. And Richard Belzer's like, that's not funny. Like, that's not funny at all. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that was really good. And it has the animation thing, and it has that ending where it just turns into this like a church public service drug film, which a lot of those, if you watched a lot of those, which we did as kids, like they just sort of end that way. So
yeah, I agree.
I like the dealers overall, but like it is way too long. I didn't need to see more than a few minutes of those guys doing it, unless they were being more pointed and more narrative driven.
The look on Chris's face when he said that Father Malone, that was funnier than anything in the dealers.
Yeah.
You said that, and Chris's eyes went like, oh god, like totally like popping out of his skull. That was.
I mean, I appreciate the Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer nature of where they live as much as the next guy, but I think yeah, like it slows the movie to a molasses crawl. And look, you know, it's sandwiched between an ad for Butts beer and the Bell Walking Fingers ad campaign thing, which, I mean, look, that for me felt like, as we like to say on Midnight Viewing, that feels like a Blackout sketch. Like any of the commercials, all like at least any of the commercials that have that like 15 seconds, they all just feel like a Blackout sketch from any of these other, like, you know, things that we've talked about anthology wise. And those are fun and fine, but it's when they kind of try to do a little bit more where they start to stumble, because Channel 1 Evening News, why do we sit on Ken Shapiro for like 5 minutes? Like, why? Yeah. I mean, I get the Eric Andre anti-comedy, anti-climax nature of it. Like, as much as I love Tim and Eric Andre and those kinds of shows, I get it and appreciate it, but that's not what they're trying to do here. That's just the one time that they're doing it, and it don't work when they do it the one time.
Well, that's the problem, is that, I mean, I'm not trying to speak ill of him. Ken Shapiro is the least funny of, like, the cast that we see, in my opinion. Like, we know Chevy Chase is funnier. We know Richard Belzer is funnier. Ken Shapiro's not bad. I'm not dogging on him per se, but I'm just saying we get a lot of him. And I don't think, I mean, Eric Andre, that's a great comparison. Eric Andre's charismatic. Eric Andre is like, he's also fully committed in like almost a way where it's like, you know, is this a work or is this a shoot? You know, I don't know. And plus,
don't sleep on Ken Shapiro. He directed Modern Problems featuring Chevy Chase, which might be the single most unfunny movie I think I've ever seen in my life.
I was about to say, the only thing I know about that movie is Chevy Chase has modern problems.
Oh, the
starring
Tubes
Dabney Coleman.
Yeah, that was great, Chris. The Tubes have a song on that soundtrack.
Saw that in the theater.
Damn, nice.
Christmas Day.
Also, you know the Tubes, which are obviously one of my favorite rock bands ever, as HP and Father Malone know. Now you know, Chris. They were in Cracking Up. Like, there's even, like, Fee Waybill plays a character in it. The band comes out at one point. White Punks on Dope and Mondo Bondage are used in different sketches. So, for you Tubes fans, just saying. But it
all comes back to the Tubes.
I love the Tubes. It's,
I know.
I can't, and it at least it applies, because I'm bad about bringing stuff in my own way that makes sense only to me.
Here. I'll bring it back. Because you mentioned that Ken Shapiro is the least funny on screen, and I'm going to disagree with you, because I think he has to carry everything, whether or not like a sketch is going to work. Like, there has to be the straight man to somebody. So I don't think he's being funny a lot of the time, but I think when he is being funny, he's in character. Coco the Clown, regardless of the year, is a funny fucking sketch, and he's really good in that one. And I said the Dealers is my favorite sort of sketch overall, but my actual favorite moment is the closing sketch, the Just You, Just Me dance sequence, where it's just him with a cameraman, like, singing to passersby in New York, and just dancing lively, and like that whole sequence is amazing. That's all Ken Shapiro. That's all improv. It's actual joyousness at the end of the movie. If it didn't have that scene, I don't know that I would recommend the movie even as a curio. But that scene is actually worth seeing. So I wanted to defend Ken Shapiro a little bit.
No, I'm not dogging on him, for the record. That is a charming, and I think that's his best, like, on-screen thing, in my opinion, is that end sequence. But is it funny? I don't think it's that funny. It's cute. It's cute. Coco the Clown, I did not like. And not for the obvious reasons. Like, I don't mind some creepy ass clowns. Like, one of my favorite Dr. Demento songs is Kinko the Clown by Odgen Etzel. And that shit's unsettling and funny. Odgen Etzel is great. Whoever played the creepy clown on Conan O'Brien that one season where he had like this girl that looked like the little girl from The Ring playing like a harmonium. That dude was great. I just didn't like his Coco the Clown. I also didn't like his ensemble. But I give him points for the ensemble because that was the shittiest clown costume. Those colors, it was all like rusty browns and old blood red and, green. There's like this shitty moss green. It was a total abortion of a clown costume, which I can respect. See, but one of my single favorite moments was in that Coco the Clown sketch where he's reading the erotica to these kids, and then when he realizes he's got to go back on, become Coco again, he like takes one last drag off of the cigarette that he's been sort of surreptitiously smoking, like one last puff, and then he's back to being Coco again. I don't know. I just thought it was a really funny transition. That was maybe my one chuckle during the whole movie. I was like, that's really funny. I don't know. I think Father Malone agrees. He's chuckling himself.
Oh my God, yeah, it's so well observed. Just look, I'm gonna defend him again. I'm gonna cry poverty for him for the outfit. This movie was made for $200,000.
Well, no, I'm saying the outfit works for the sketch.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
When he's portraying the clown television host, he's really going for it to a manic degree, and then settles into this laconic creep. He's not even a creep. He's like, I think he's really just doing good. He's like Steve Allen, basically. That's what he's doing, kind of.
Yeah, and he really knows the kids, and the kids know him, and they want to hear Page 47 from Fanny Hill by John Cleland.
Okie dokie.
I knew when the sketch started, I had a feeling it was going to be a play on the famous Soupy Sales thing where he
give me the money.
He told the kids to go to their parents' wallets and send him all the pictures of the presidents they found in the wallet. So I knew that it was going to be subversive, but I don't know that I was expecting him to read, literary erotica to these children. But and to Father Malone's point, his demeanor, the way it changes when he's reading, it's very peculiar. I was not prepared for the sort of dichotomy between Coco and this other sort of weird character, but I probably liked it, better than I expected to like it. I think it went on a little too long. Again, I think a little brevity might have helped, but it was funny. I mean, I got a few laughs out of it, I guess.
I got no laughs. I got none. Zero.
I agree with you, Heather, about Ken Shapiro. The only segment I liked him in was the Coco segment because, I will agree, reading erotica is funny. That's it. Reading erotica is we could do a whole podcast where we just read erotica and we could all chortle along. That would be funny.
So you're saying just his reading of the erotica?
It has nothing to do with Ken Shapiro. Okay. I think not just reading. For me, hearing someone talk about engorged phalluses will never not be funny because people saying it out loud is funny.
That's also our new podcast Chris and I are starting.
Engorged phalluses.
What makes me laugh about that sketch is that these children are writing him letters. That this is that's how it's happening.
I like the idea that maybe they aren't, and he's just reading it to them anyways. He's just like, I'm going to read children erotica. I think that's more perverse.
It only works if these kids have been watching so long that they have favorite passages from they're thinking back to it. Oh, what was it? Page 47. Could you read that again?
I was hoping that we would get to hear what he was reading from the Marquis de Sade, but. The Marquis is a little bit more my speed, less Fanny Hill, more Marquis de Sade.
What's an old French term for a prolapse? No, to HP though, I do love so much that you brought up Soupy Sales because I do love Soupy Sales, and in fact, Soupy Sales had a dance that my friend Steven sent me a video of, and it was amazing. I think everybody listening go check out Soupy Sales. Just because something's old doesn't mean it's not funny, because there's plenty. The Marx Brothers holds up. God, those guys started vaudeville.
And that's the thing about this movie. It's like you run the risk of alienating people in the future by being too specific. And Charlie Chaplin
and being unfunny.
Well, that too. But the Marx Brothers, Charlie Chaplin. I mean, even, someone like Jackie Chan, like there is a timelessness to what they're doing because it's physical comedy, and physical comedy doesn't need a pop culture reference. I mean, look, the let your fingers do it thing is funny with or without the knowing the ad campaign, because it's two fingers humping done rather well. But I mean, I wonder, because let's take the Geratin girl thing, for example. Is that funny without knowing the Geritol ad that it's based on?
Yes, boobs.
Well, and Chevy Chase making that face at the end, unable to keep along with the audio, is funny.
No, random boobs aren't funny, but Jennifer Wells is so cute in this, and the way she shakes her cha-chas as she takes, I thought was just so cute. Like she was having fun with it. She was,
but it's fun. It's funny, but in a different sense than I think they originally intended. I think if in its time and place when the Geritol ads were prominent, I think it tickled you for a different reason. Now it's just more about the outrageousness of seeing a woman, doing what she's doing, and Chevy Chase being sort of mugging. But it's not funny in the sense of being a parody of Geritol. That's my opinion.
But it is. Here's the thing: it is a very pointed ad, because the tagline on the old Geritol ad was "My wife, I think I'll keep her," and it was your wife is using
actual
Geritol.
ad campaign,
right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Not great. Not great.
No.
Actually, real bad. Geritol.
Yeah, fuck you, Geritol.
The fuck? It sounds like a drug that old people take.
I legit thought it was for like constipation.
Geriatric. Geritol.
What is Geritol for? Is his wife incontinent? Is she backed up?
It's just a supplement.
That's it.
Yeah, just a vitamin supplement. Yeah.
Oh,
for iron poor, tired blood. That's what it was a fix for.
You know what?
You can still buy it. You can still buy it. Let's go get us some bottles of Geritol, folks, and take a ride to Sextown with Chevy Chase.
You know what a great pop culture reference ad that even though the product and the advertisement people won't remember, because honestly this was a little bit before my time slightly, but do you guys remember from the 70s era SNL where they had the bottled water with the waters of the Lake Erie?
Oh,
and it was sent to Carly Simon's Anticipation, and it's like this just nasty sludge. That shit's still funny. And I remember seeing that as a little kid laughing, and I didn't get the actual reference, but I mean, it was done funny. Like, it was so funny, just the way it was done. It was so out of the box. And, I don't know. I mean, Homie the Clown's funnier than Coco. I'm sorry, I can't get past this. Like, I love Homie the Clown.
Here's the thing, it doesn't even have to be advertising necessarily. Airplane has a moment that's a parody of From Here to Eternity. I defy anyone who's coming to Airplane for the first time now to have seen that film and know the reference.
Well, they reference a coffee ad in Airplane that doesn't work if you don't know the coffee, right?
That's right. Yeah,
he doesn't take. Yeah, and that joke, we talked about it on the Police Squad episode, or the Police Squad show that we did, Mark Begley and Mike White and I, earlier this year. We talked about that, where it's like, this doesn't land anymore. You have to know this.
Right, so that's
this joke.
That's those guys demonstrating both types, right? You can do a topical joke, but if the joke is funny, it's good. And the other one is just a joke about the line that they've been hearing in ads.
Right. Which the Geritol thing is. I mean, they literally just quote the ad.
It's basically the Family Guy of comedy. Hey, here's a reference. You recognize this thing, so that's funny.
Remember when X did Y? The Family Guy equation.
Speaking of X, as in the band, no, I can't connect the punk rock band X to this. But I do want to bring up the music, because this film, and I think this is one of my favorite things of it, it has that main song by Curtis Mayfield.
Move On Up. Yeah.
Yes, I was
it's fantastic. I was so shocked because, I don't know. I maybe this is in the time before filmmakers had to pay through the nose to have songs like that in their movies. But when I heard that start up during the sort of the hitchhiker scene, I was like, oh, this might be really kind of cool. I love this song. I love Curtis Mayfield. But again, it was kind of a bit of a bait and switch, because it doesn't really have any real bearing, I think, on that particular vignette. And it just got me unreasonably excited for the movie and the expectations couldn't possibly be met at that point. But it was cool. I agree. That was really cool to hear that.
Is that the hitchhiker sequence? That's where it first comes in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I also liked.
It's
I
perfectly
liked the
placed
hitchhiker.
because it.
So go ahead.
It's perfectly placed because it defied your expectations, just like that hitchhiker. That song made you the hitchhiker. You were like, "Oh, this is going to be great," and then, "Oh, there's cops."
There you go. I also liked that the hitchhiker looked like Jamie Gumb from Silence of the Lambs, and it kind of, I don't know, I was expecting him to do like the tuck dance or something, but and yes, I'm aware that it was Buzzy Leinhardt, who was a soundtrack guy, but he just looked like Jamie Gumb to me. I don't know.
He did. He really did. And then his pants come off, and he's just cock flapping in the wind. I do appreciate the nudity in this movie. I appreciate a good dick in the wind, folks. Who doesn't?
All we are dicks in the wind.
In the wind, man.
Is that the demo?
We really got to change the wording here, guys, because I don't think they'll let us play dicks in the wind on the radio.
Man,
might have been an even bigger hit.
It's the Jamie Gump. My heart, my soul. In my original notes, I had guy with burgeoning skullet. So you did a lot better than me, HP. I looked up.
I love that term, skullet. That's great.
It's so perfect, and it's so rare the person that can rock the skullet. So far, I've only come up with the Richard O'Brien.
True.
So,
and then there's that guy, and then there's like that guy who worked on special effects for, I think, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4. He rocks a pretty good skullet because he shows up in the documentary Never Sleep Again, and he's got a skullet. I'm like, that guy's got a skullet. You're talking about
John Carl Buechler.
No, not the guy who did
Kevin. Was it Kevin Yeager?
Kevin Yeager. Oh yeah, I think it is Kevin.
Not the Carnosaur guy. Buechler is the Carnosaur guy, right?
Carnosaur.
Yeah, and he directed Friday the 13th part. Where he fights Carrie. Jason versus the Psychic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll have to look that one up.
The skullet.
Yeah, Reggie Bannister from Phantasm has an awesome skullet. Oh, and the guitarist, one of the guitarists from the band Saxon. That's so far. That's my skullet rocking list.
Saxon.
You have a spreadsheet with all the skullets listed
in my head. I do. Nice. But Buzzy, is it Linhart or Leinhardt?
I think it's It's probably Leinhardt. I know he passed away in 2020. I did look that up. He's no longer with us.
He wrote the song "Friends." That Bette Midler that became you got to have friends. I can't sing like Bette Midler, but yeah, that's huge right there. That song's massive.
Wow.
Yeah. And he worked with Jimi Hendrix and also worked with people like Harry Nilsson, Buffy St. Marie, John Sebastian. So yeah, I mean, dude was legit. And
Ken
we saw
Shapiro.
I don't think that's the one he talks about. He's like, I bet his kids.
Goes with that saying.
Right.
No,
almost the one you don't want to leave off the list, frankly.
Yeah. What would you brag about? Being like, hey, I have an album credit on a Jimi Hendrix record, or I showed my wang in the Groove Tube.
I was in the movie by the guy who directed Modern Problems. God.
That's it right there. Mic drop.
God.
Well, here's the thing about that. This movie cost $200,000 and it made $20 million.
I know. And look, that is the thing I think about this movie when you look at it as a whole. I think the thing that is successful about it is that it does ultimately feel like you're turning the TV on for an hour and a half and then turning the TV off at the end. And that is a success that you can't take away from this, even though some of the segments don't succeed. Again, I come back to Tales from the Crypt. Most of the segments in that show don't work. Most of the episodes of that show are fucking middling to towards the end of that show. Just a nightmare that I don't want to relive. But you could say the same thing about any of these kinds of things. The law of averages would denote there's going to be some that are good, not a lot that are great, and not a lot that are really terrible. But most things sit in the middle. And I think that, the Groove Tube is that for the most part. I think the things that aren't great go on for way too long is ultimately the problem. I could use more ads about Brown 25 is what I'm saying. Just a lot more shit ads. I wanted, honestly, the thing I did want that they didn't do is something reoccurring throughout. like the same ad a couple times, the same company, but for different things. Like they didn't do that, which I was surprised.
They did with Uranus, the company Uranus.
Right, but I was expecting it like a lot more. Like I was really expecting. Then Father Malone, probably to your point, it would have discredited this as something to watch because then there might have been a through line.
No, that would have been fine because Amazon Women on the Moon, which we end the month with, is the perfected version of this movie. It will make you feel like you're just watching television with somebody and they have control of the remote control. And that does have callbacks to earlier stuff, but it is sketchy as you can get.
Oh my God. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, that really is. You're right, Father Malone. That really is like the most highly evolved sort of sketch comedy movie, I think. Because it's hard for me to think of anything that came after that approached that kind of, being so streamlined and funny.
Movie 43.
As I was saying, it's hard for me to think of anything that came after that, but it had that same level of...
It has Hugh Jackman in it, guys. How could it be that bad? Oof. Well, and you know what? That's the thing. I would contend this is a funnier movie than movie 43 is. Leaps and bounds funny.
Well, that's saying something.
A low bar.
I haven't seen this movie, but I'm good. Just judging by what you guys.
It's a movie that I feel like a lot of the people that are in it hope and wish that it could leave it. They would probably collectively leave it off of their credits. It's kind of that notoriously bad. That's the thing. Like, I don't think anybody's leaving this off of their credits because, we mentioned Chevy Chase a couple times, and I think we could go around the room asking our feelings on Mr. Chase. I think he's good in this. The sparing amount that he's in here. I mean, to say Chevy Chase is in this is really to say he's in 2 segments.
2, yeah.
3. Those are his fingers.
Oh, in the fingered thing with the phone book? Oh, okay.
That's 3 parts.
I mean, the finger sex is pretty convincing. The way the legs move on the one that's being fucked is pretty good. I'm not joking. I'm being dead serious.
That's one thing he knows. Fucking up other people. That's my feeling. Chase, by the way.
Oh, man. Why do we have to go there? You just buried the man.
Damn. This is like his roast all over again.
Okay, so I mentioned Ken Shapiro had a theater, Channel 1 theater, and he and Chevy Chase was part of that. So, like, all of the original films that they made for the theater were, like, all of the Belzer parts were Chevy Chase part. And he left, obviously, to go make Saturday Night Live, and Belzer took his place in that theater. So that's why Belzer is all over the movie. Let's talk about Belzer for a minute, shall we?
Because I thought we were talking about Chevy Chase, but he probably doesn't deserve any more time than we gave him.
He's in it for 2 scenes and three with his fingers. But Belzer, Belzer made an entire career of basically playing Belzer, which is great because I love him. But Detective John Mudge is just Richard Belzer. But seeing the range of characters he was cycling through here, made me sad that he didn't do more character work. Where he actually portrayed a character, because I found him very compelling, and each of the guys is here. Maybe not the African American hooker.
That was regrettable. Yeah.
HP. That was regrettable.
It was.
Yes, and the affectation and the patois was what? A complete fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be in blackface, but it's another to do a patois as well.
I love HP. You are like the diplomatic heart of everything.
That is regrettable.
Well, but it doesn't take a diplomat to look at that and go, well, on the face of it, it's just unfunny anyway. Like it's a joke that could have been told in 15 seconds. It goes on for 3 minutes, but I mean, it's what are you gonna do? It's blackface. It's terrible, and it's done. But again, I'm not blind to the fact that it was. When this was made, it wasn't as big of a deal, but I can't really separate my attitude from what I'm seeing on the screen. I mean, maybe that's my failing, but no, it was not. That was not good. Excluding that, though, I do agree with Father Malone that it was good to see so much. I wasn't expecting. It's almost like a two-hander with Belzer and Ken Shapiro. I mean, they're all over this thing. for obvious reasons. But Belzer is great in that.
Oh, I mean, he's great. I mean, and also, even though it's a small part, a movie where you can see him do something that you don't think of him classically with is he's in Cafe Flesh. And he does a little section in there, and I had it confirmed that it was him. So it's obviously his name's not in the credits because it's technically X-rated, though he's non-sex. There's no Richard Belzer nudity. Sorry to disappoint, but the closest I think we're ever going to get are him in those hot pants in the the racist sex worker scene. But
well, I mean, and he's in one of Father Malone's favorite films that I enjoy as well. He's in the he plays one of the Greek gangsters at the beginning of Fletch Lives.
He's so good.
Put $100 on halibut. I think it's something that or scrod or something. It's Richard Belzer just doing it like a Greek, greasy Greek man in the 80s, 90s. I guess I don't know. It's just Belzer.
You want to see badass?
Belzer.
You want to see badass Belzer? Check out Night Shift, the Ron Howard film about the accidental pimps with his cousin Henry Winkler. He plays like a mob enforcer in that movie. He's fucking great in it. I mentioned he was the first celebrity I saw in Los Angeles. I also got to meet him a few times because he was in a remake of a Roger Corman movie called Not of This Earth that my friend Elizabeth was starring in. So she, I begged her to go meet him, and ended up having a very nice conversation with him. Ended up taping that week's episode of Homicide: Life on the Street because he didn't have a VCR while he was in LA. So I got to. He wanted to see the episode, so I got to tape that for him. There's my Belzer digression.
He was also a big conspiracy theory guy. He's written like several books on different conspiracy theories about the JFK assassination and UFOs and all of this kind of stuff. A lot of people don't know that about Belzer. He was very staunch in his beliefs around conspiracy theories, which I thought was interesting.
That was the first thing I saw of him was UFOs, JFK, and Elvis. I had that book.
Oh, you read that book? Okay, cool.
I don't know if I ever read it, but I had it, which was probably the I had it and I maybe perused it at one point, but I don't know why I wouldn't have read it. But I remember having it. I mean, I remember him on the X-Files. I mean, is he not the character that ties all that stuff into that weird thing that, what the hell was the show where it was all in a dream sequence, and because he was in it and everything else, he connects all the dots. Does anyone else know what the fuck I'm talking about? Or am I incanting here in some sort of weird ritual nobody knows about?
I'm so rusty on the X-Files, so
But he plays the same character in the X-Files that he plays in Homicide.
John Munch is in dozens of shows. He appears. Yeah, if there's an actual multiverse, John Munch is at the center of it. He appeared in Homicide. He appeared on 3 or 4 different Law and Orders. If any crossover shows happened during that, I think at the CSI, John Munch appeared on that. Are you getting in a particular John Munch crossover that I'm not mentioning?
It's the Tommy
here?
Westfall thing. What's the show? Saint Elsewhere.
Oh
my God!
Yeah.
There is something about Belzer connected to that show that then means any show that he's been on is therefore in that fucking Saint Elsewhere kid's mind. That's what it is. And I forget, but it's Belzer is the kind of entire connection.
Did one of those characters from Saint Elsewhere appear in an episode with John Munch in some other show, and they were like, this is that character, so then that means that Saint Elsewhere is also connected to John Munch? Is that one of the things?
Yes, because he's in all these things that those are therefore tangentially within the Tommy Westfall brain universe, because that entire show takes place in a child's mind. So yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Belzer, is that weird X-Files connects into all these other. He's good here. I mean, but he's kind of wasted, unfortunately, because I wish he was the main focus. I mean, as much as he kind of is, I kind of wish that it was, anytime it was Ken Shapiro, it was just Richard Belzer.
I think the Belzer could have made the Coco show thing a little funnier. Sorry guys, I know, no offense to my brothers, my noise junkie brothers. I love you. It wasn't funny. I can't help it. But Kinko the Clown is hilarious.
Kinko.
Have you never heard that song, Chris?
No.
I should send it to you. It's a Dr. Demento classic. But no, so are you saying that could there have been a crossover possibly with Richard Belzer and Jesse Ventura?
Well, that's the thing. You mentioned that. You mentioned Richard Belzer and kind of like being a conspiracy guy. Like that's who I think of when I think of like contemporary people. Is the body Ventura? The body. That's what I think of. I mean, that is what I think of when I think of people like that. But I mean, he's in that same weird vein of like a personality. I don't know. Belzer's a weird guy because he had a lot of interests in things that you don't see a lot of other celebrities coming out and talking about, like conspiracy theories. So it's fighting the good fight for the rest of us who were just interested in it but couldn't be as kind of open about it, writing books and stuff. So
ever see his wife, Harley McBride, Belzer's wife?
Oh God, I forgot he was married to her. She was in Young Lady Chatterley too?
Young Lady Chatterley and Young Lady Chatterley too. Which, speaking of like forbidden fruit videotapes, I, as a young pervy child, not child, but let's just say of an age, I videotaped Young Lady Chatterley 2 off of Skinemax, and then, not being the brightest of children, actually wrote on the label, Chatterley 2, and then one day came home to my mother with a videotape like, you want to talk about this?
Oh man, that's rough. Oof. Oh.
Anyway, I love Harley McBride. She's beautiful and talented, and married to the Bells. All roads lead to the Bells.
I tried watching 2 as a kid, not just for the obvious reasons, but Oliver Reed, I believe's in it, and I was already like super in love with Oliver Reed because of Burnt Offerings and Tommy. Sorry, this is probably a cycle.
Does he show his special tattoo in that movie?
No.
What a shame.
Well, I didn't get to see all of it, but I've read about it. I was like, this movie isn't good.
Claws on it.
Isn't that amazing? He had a nad tat.
I know. It's not a nad tat. He had a dick tat. He had a tattoo on the head of his... I thought it
was on his balls for some reason.
It's on his
penis.
It's on the head of his dick.
That's like the most sensitive. Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. Oliver Reed was a fucking...
Talons, plural.
Yeah, he had 2 talons on the head of his dick. And don't you love Oliver Reed that much more now?
I love him. You know what? This discussion tonight is funnier than the entirety of the group, too.
I mean, that is kind of the sad thing, I think, for me about something like this is like, I see where they were going, but I see where they were going. But again, like I said, like I can't fault this movie for being more or less successful with some parts that don't work. Cause like, I mean, talk about SNL in its entirety. Like how much of that show still works anymore?
Oh God. Yeah. SNL. And I mean,
in its entirety, very little.
Right.
We've been fed a diet of best of SNLs for the past 50 years. And so like the best of Twilight Zones, like the best of Night Gallery or Tales from the Crypt, like there's a lot of chaff in that weed. If you go back and watch early Saturday Night Live, first, second, third season, there are sketches that are like 17 minutes long, and it's just character pieces. There are no jokes specifically. They go on and on and on. So, I can't blame this movie for not being funnier. Like maybe had he had a few more writers involved, it could have been. But
right, but and that's the other thing. It seems this movie, as much as it is written by 3 people, it definitely feels like one person's specific voice. Ken Shapiro's voice, which I think, to your point, Heather, I would err on the side of my comedy expectations don't necessarily see eye to eye with Ken Shapiro's. And that's okay. But I think the problem is it's so much Ken Shapiro and him that if there were another voice or 2 in there to maybe, like with Tarantino, where he has an editor who can trim his stuff down, it would help if there were other people to diffuse Ken Shapiro's stuff just a little bit so that it's not just so overwhelmingly his comedic sensibilities, which I don't necessarily vibe with a whole lot.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, it hits me. I never got to mention the second, erotic film actress. I feel like very saucy. It's a very saucy episode tonight. Because Rebecca Brooke is the actress in the Sex Olympics section, which wasn't good, but she's in Bradley Metzger's The Image. And Bradley Metzger is an auteur, down boots. Nobody can see this listening to this, but I have a small black and white picture behind me underneath my badass Dark Shadows French poster. And it's Radley Metzger. Radley Metzger is a brilliant filmmaker, and I highly encourage it. She was amazing in The Image. Great actress. It made me sad because she was in one of the worst segments. That one went on way too long. It wasn't funny. She's a great actress, though. So props to Rebecca Brooke, a.k.a. Mary Mentum.
I mean, the joke, it's like they do the same joke 4 times.
Yeah.
It's like, how many times do you have to do the same joke? I get it. Like, there is something to be said for repetition, right? Repeat it 4 times, and on the 5th time, it's funny, or 3 times, and the 4th time, it's funny. But
not always.
No,
yeah, not always.
There has to be a joke in there that is more than just, hey, remember that commercial you just heard on the radio for the 3rd, 4th time? See, you seen this ad? Well, we've seen that ad.
I do like a little bit of physical comedy with the I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover. That may be my favorite segment in the entire movie.
It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's got Chevy Chase doing nothing, just sitting there, singing, and then the other guy playing on his head. So
yeah, that was
Chevy
cute.
Chase getting smacked around. Who doesn't like that?
Which is funny.
Aww.
Like,
great,
I mean,
right?
I mean, yeah. Like, I mean, again, not to drag the guy, but it sounds like he does a pretty good job dragging himself on his own.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, the problem with someone like Chevy Chase is like, he's in one of my favorite movies of all time. He's fucking Fletch. I mean, John Hamm is Fletch, but for me, Chevy Chase is Fletch. Fletch is a character that was a very important character for me at a formative part of my life. So it's hard for me to overlook the fact that I love Chevy Chase, but he is not a person that sounds like he does a lot to make people like him. And that's hard to grapple with when he plays such kind of charismatic characters and comes off as a guy who you would like to be around. But then you hear the story about him and Bill Murray trying to fucking kill each other. And it's like, I know Bill Murray ain't exactly a pip either, but I don't know. Like, Chevy Chase just doesn't do a lot, in my opinion, to help the case that he's perceived as someone that people might not want to work with.
Okay, let me address that. That situation was Chevy Chase had become the big star of Saturday Night Live and left the show, and then he was coming back to host it. Mm-hmm. And Belushi could not stand that fact. So he was stoking fires between Chevy Chase and Bill Murray all week, which culminated in Bill Murray saying to Chevy Chase, "Why don't you go back home and fuck your wife? I hear she needs it."
Yep. Which is funny.
But the thing I like best about that story, though, is when they were getting pulled apart, Bill Murray's insult to Chevy Chase was calling him a medium talent. Which,
oh my God.
For somebody of Chevy Chase's considerable ego, it's got to hurt.
I love
what
that.
A great line.
I call people that all the time now. Medium talent. It's the worst insult you could ever level at a performer.
You're fucking mid, bro.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, that is just what that, I mean,
cuts.
That's, I mean, that's why people are getting all bent out of shape when that guy on Twitter was like, Margot Robbie's mid, bro. It's like, are you fucking right now? Like, Chevy Chase, I don't think is a medium talent, but yeah, boy, that burned his ass.
Oh, yeah.
He still thinks about that. He does.
He forgot immediately, go fuck your wife. You can't satisfy her. That went in one ear and went out the other. Medium talent. When he wakes up in the morning, medium talent.
I wasn't in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm a fucking medium talent. As Bill Murray cashes his fucking checks. No, I have a hard time really coming to terms with Chevy Chase, the human being, and Chevy Chase, the artiste or the comedian, because I don't know, comedy is such a intrinsically linked to who the person is thing versus like horror or action movies. Like, who cares what Arnold Schwarzenegger's like? He can portray a charismatic guy on screen, so we kind of don't care what he does. It's nice that he's kind of seemingly, for the most part, well put together, but like being a comedian, it's like kind of intrinsically tied to who you are. So that's why it's hard for me to like Chevy Chase. Just, I don't know. He's a real not problematic, but he's regrettable in a lot of ways, as HP would say.
I love HP saying regrettable. Is like
he is regrettable. He makes regrettable decisions. You mentioned Community, Heather. He got thrown off that show because he was being an asshole.
Yeah,
and that was like what a lifeline that show was to him, because he was nowhere, and they gave him like it's probably at this point it's like a third or fourth lifeline in his career, and he again what he does is his ego. Can't allow other people to take credit for these successes, and he's just such an asshole that he just can't let it lie. And there he goes. He burned. He's no bridges left with Chevy Chase. He's burned them all. You know, and it's a shame because I grew up really. I mean, seeing him in Caddyshack and movies like Foul Play, he was fantastic. He had it all, and he just fucked it all up. Classic case.
He was going to be our Cary Grant, and then he decided that he was Cary Grant and that he was better than Cary Grant, and everyone should shut the fuck up because he invented comedy.
Right.
And now he's in the very excellent Mr. Dundee, a Crocodile Dundee movie that I didn't know existed.
Well,
Wait, is Paul Hogan in that?
Yeah. It's it came out in 2020, and it's Paul Hogan is reluctantly thrust back into the spotlight as he desperately attempts to restore his sullied reputation on the eve of being knighted. I thought this was a Crocodile Dundee movie. Apparently, it's not.
is Paul Hogan in it? Bite your tongue. How can you have a Crocodile Dundee movie with no Paul Hogan?
Paul Hogan playing a character named Paul.
I gotta say, I gotta break in for a minute. This has nothing to do with anything. This just triggered a memory of Father Malone and I. He probably doesn't remember this. We were standing in line waiting to see the very first Batman movie. Do you remember this, Father Malone?
I remember the day.
The guy in front of us was just some guy in Revere or whatever, Massachusetts, but he had like a Crocodile Dundee type hat on his head. And the whole time we're shuffling through this line, Father Malone is throwing like backhand. He's saying, "That's not a knife." That's like he's all these quotes, these Crocodile Dundee quotes, mocking this guy mercilessly as we're waiting in line. Oh my God, it was so fucking funny. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sounds like something you would do even if you didn't remember doing it.
That is on brand. I love it. That is hilarious. Oh my
16 years old, 16.
You scamp.
Yeah.
You can actually date that moment. We're like Marilu Henner here. You can look whatever the opening day of Batman was the day that I was mercilessly mocking some poor man and his what he thought was a cool fashion choice.
It's making me laugh all these years later, just the memory of it, because you were just so fucking funny at just mercilessly, getting on this guy's case. It was hilarious. Anyway,
apparently this is a movie though, and it sounds great. It's got Paul Hogan, it's got Chevy Chase playing a person named Chevy, it's got John Cleese playing a character named John, it's got Olivia Newton-John in her final screen role playing a character. Yeah, boy, and that's when it got depressing.
This is sad.
Yeah, the last thing Chevy Chase was in that was like of big note was when he played Clark Griswold again in Vacation in 2015. And you know what? I rewatched that movie recently, and I actually think that movie is really funny because it's really mean in a way that like the mid-aughts comedies are. Kind of mercilessly mean to the main characters in a way that the original Vacation kind of was just mean to the main characters. It goes way further, and I kind of can't fault it. And Ed Helms plays a really funny version of a character that is effectively just what Chevy Chase was doing, but Ed Helms is actually like a likable person, seemingly, unlike Chevy Chase, which is the problem.
Michael Hall, come on.
Do what?
Should have been Anthony Michael Hall.
Sure, it should have been Johnny Galecki. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it could have been any of them. You could have made the case it should have been any of them. But my point is, like, that's the last thing Chevy Chase did of note, and that was 8 years ago. So
though, I mean, you guys talking about Chevy Chase and that whole like separating art from artist. How do you think I feel when Randy Quaid was my favorite? Okay, because that cheese slid off the cracker.
He could still be your favorite.
Yeah, like that. Talk about on brand. That's just Cousin Eddie.
No, it's No.
That's Elijah C. Scuggs.
No. I wish. I mean,
look, hasn't Randy Quaid turned a corner? Like I saw him with Alex Winters signing autographs at something. Like,
are you serious?
Yes, I think Randy Quaid has turned a corner. I mean,
that would make me so happy because I love Randy Quaid. And I think he's a fucking awesome actor, and he can do dramatic and comedic. He can do everything. Like he's so underrated, and so I that would make me happy because mental illness is real, and you can't help that. And I hope he's in a better place. Legit.
I thought he was living in a room.
Randy Quaid agreed with me on Twitter, so it's good. We're good.
Oh boy,
You're fiddle.
Yeah, fiddling. We're fiddling. All right, let's get the fuck out of town with Randy Quaid.
Your fiddle, fiddle. That was so good, Chris. Yes.
I mean, hey, I hope Randy Quaid's turned a corner because
Yeah, seriously. Chevy Chase, like, I to me, like, he, even when he was likable, he was still kind of playing characters that were kind of assholes a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
Like Chevy Chase. That's why we like
yeah,
it.
yeah,
exactly.
Fletch.
So
I mean, Fletch is like a distillation of Chevy Chase for me. Like, that's not the character in the book. That's Chevy Chase. Like, that's when I read the books. Finally, I realized like that's not the character in the book. That's just Chevy Chase being Chevy Chase. And then
Yeah.
Fletch Lives is just him being Chevy Chase some more. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, it's like Will Ferrell. Like, there are other comedians that came from SNL that were such big personalities. It's like, I want to cast a movie because of who you are, not like, I mean, yeah, Will Ferrell's funny and Chevy Chase is funny, but it's like who they are brings more through the door than a specific character that they're going to do. Like Jim Carrey, right? Like,
yeah, I could see that. I mean, Ace Ventura, right? That's
yeah. I mean, every time you watch a movie with Jim Carrey, you know what you're going to get because it's always Jim Carrey kind of doing the Jim Carrey thing, at least in the 90s. And Chevy Chase is the same thing. Like, you knew what, like you said, Father Malone, you knew what you were going to get because he's kind of just playing himself. And when he stopped playing, when people stopped resonating with him playing himself, it's when everybody stopped caring, which was pretty much the 90s.
And that's when every studio was excited because they didn't have to be in the Chevy Chase business anymore.
They didn't have to make nothing but trouble, baby.
oh,
That movie, that is the movie where I realized even Chevy Chase can't save something like this.
It's a good movie.
I know you like it. It's a one-time trip inside of the mind of Dan Aykroyd.
All
Yeah, I had to say,
the world's the same.
Same song.
Come on, everybody.
I had the same experience.
Tupac is in that movie, y'all.
I have not heard that.
But see, I felt the same way, Chris. When I saw Modern Problems, all the way back then, I knew that there was nothing going to save that movie, not the least of which was Chevy Chase. And it's just, I guess I came to that realization much earlier. I mean, because he made some real bad. Oh, Heavenly Dog. I mean, this is
You about to say? Did you stop yourself from saying dog shit?
Well, because I was going to segue into Oh Heavenly Dog. I didn't want to say dog twice.
Oh, Heavenly
Heavenly
Dog.
Dog shit.
I have yet to see that movie. I've wanted to see it for the longest time.
Do yourself a favor.
Oh
Right.
man.
Run, don't walk. Oh Heavenly Dog.
Yeah. God.
Have you seen Under the Rainbow?
I actually like Under the Rainbow.
I do
That's
too.
what-
I'm recommending it right now.
Yeah.
I have not, but I know what it's about. It's got little Billy Barty in it.
It
Oh my
does, and Carrie Fisher as well. It's a romp. I mean, it's probably terrible. I haven't seen it in 40 years, so I'm sure it's garbage. But I remember it being very, very good.
Yeah.
Soon coming to the Weirding Way Media Network, the Chevcast. All Chevy, all the time. Boy, I feel like we'd get one listener in the town wherever Chevy Chase is.
Aw.
I mean, it's like the Steven
is just
Seagal
bumming
thing.
me.
But the problem is he makes himself an easy target.
But see, I feel like Seagal, I don't know. It's like Chevy Chase at least hasn't been accused of like sexually harassing women, to my knowledge. Now that I'm
Fair.
saying that.
That's fair.
Or being abusive. Like is he egotistical? Obviously, undoubtedly. Is he an asshole? Sure. I feel like saying egotistical asshole, you could throw a stone in Hollywood and you're going to hit one of them. The difference is it's like when you stop making that much money.
Yeah,
For
the
that,
industry,
like
the industry turns on.
Yeah, I mean, the industry made that monster and he didn't help, obviously, but, I don't know. I because there are artists I love who have done slightly criminal things. Like, so I'm just like, I'm a little more lenient, I guess, with Chevy. My thing is like, don't date them, don't hang out with them.
Right. I wouldn't want to be his
movies,
friend. Like,
I mean,
The thing about Chevy Chase is, his reputation is probably well won, and the fact that it's an extension of the character that we all like is kind of funny to me. That we love this asshole. Like, turns out he's an asshole, though. Like, whoa.
right.
Oh,
Who'd have thunk it?
yeah.
The other thing about Chevy Chase is a lot of what is actually important about him in the comedy world we don't see. Him helping with the structure of Saturday Night Live is very, very important. His sensibility, and he was the head writer on that show for that first year. So, and what you saw is what we got. And before SNL, he was on, he was in Lemmings, the stage show, the National Lampoon show, and he was on the radio show a lot.
He's amazing in that. Amazing in Lemmings.
He's incredible in Lemmings. So
One of the best jokes in SNL history. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. I mean that alone, like that says it all, right?
Well, certainly for him.
Right. I mean, Weekend Update exists because of Chevy Chase in a lot of ways. Like
it isn't often someone can sum themselves up in one phrase, right? But I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not pretty much does it.
Right. And that's and in so many ways, in every way. And what's weird is like he's such a small part of this movie, right? It is kind of strange, ultimately.
But we get to see him in that period when he was actually vital and important. More so than his appearances in the 1980s in whatever comedy. He was just sort of, making better because he is a very talented and funny human being.
Yeah. The vehicles that he was.
Yeah, I have utmost respect for Chevy Chase as a comedian. It's just the human being and the actor.
Everything except for his talent is reprehensible, but it's hard to, and I'm only half being facetious there, but to Father Malone's point, I mean he was an important part of what made those early years of SNL go. He's a phenomenally talented guy. He was good looking. This was a unique package. I mean, unfortunately, in his later years, he kind of became like the new version of Milton Berle, this guy who thought that he was God's gift to comedy, who, invented comedy as we know it and so on and so forth. And the fact is he really didn't. And it's sad. But no, none of this is to take anything away from his comedic contributions, especially in the 70s and 80s.
Well, we all really know what Milton was.
Shut the fuck up, Chris. I'm sorry. HP was being so eloquent and
it would have been hard
it.
Not to walk right into it, though.
And all I could see, well, speaking of walking into it, was while my Noise Junkies brother here is being eloquent, Chris is like making like dick hand gestures as soon as you mentioned Milton Berle, because me and him have talked about this.
Uncle Milton.
No, but everyone knows Uncle Milty was packing. I mean, that's
disgusting.
That's just like
Uncle Milty was packing. Put that one on a shirt, folks.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting quirks and legends around the Hollywood. Who is the Marlo Thomas's Danny Thomas? There's a lot of interesting rumors about his proclivities. We won't go into those here. But,
it involves the coffee table, a glass coffee.
Oh, gross!
Thank you, Father Malone.
He's a glass bottom
boater. It does. And when pressed, apparently I don't know if it's his lawyer or the executive of his estate, when asked about that, he responded by saying, "The man built hospitals."
That's not a denial.
To me, says true.
Milton Berle was in a Rat video. He didn't build no hospitals. I just don't want to think about Milton Berle having a schlong, period, much less a big old hog leg. Like that. Milton Berle? Gross. Like,
just think when he got older, he could use it like a cane.
Oh, nasty. Nasty, Chris. I don't like
Call
it.
him Tripod. Wasn't that one of the only episodes of SNL that they don't repeat? Because he guest hosted in the 70s, and he was such a terrible host.
A terrible host. He insisted on singing a song, which they didn't let him do.
Okay, that's funny.
And hammed it up everything. I wish they would re-air it because it involves one of my favorite moments ever, which is Bill Murray had figured out what this old vaudevillian was doing in every sketch and noticed Burl going like to the back of the stage so that when he was introduced, he would walk up like all the way from back of the camera to the foreground. So your attention would be on him the entire time. So Bill Murray would constantly move his body in front of him in the camera so that you didn't see him at all.
Oh, that's a power move.
Apparently really like angered Milton Berle in the scene.
I love that.
Bill at some point could probably feel milk coming from at least a foot away.
That's disgusting. Ew, Chris. I would rather hear about Danny Thomas's glass bottom boat.
What is it? I've never heard this rumor. Is this talking about someone shitting on a table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Allegedly, Sylvester Stallone's also into that. Allegedly.
You know what? If normal people are into it, which normal people are, that means that there's got to be people in the industry that are well known that are into it.
I imagine that's just like being jaded. Like, it's like that Aqua Teen where Carl's watching internet porn and he goes, "I am so jaded."
I mean,
it's got to be completely bananas.
You know what? They know what they were doing. They gave Chevy Chase his own late night talk show in the mid-90s. You guys remember that?
It was so good. I watched it when it was on. It was so unfunny.
You know when your show is good when it can be the run can be summed up in how many weeks it was on.
I forgot about that.
I actually knew a writer on that show when I was living in Los Angeles who told me Chevy's entire idea for a joke is I'm wearing a microphone and then someone calls me out of the room and I forget the mic is on and then you listen to me pee for a really long time.
What, like, you watched Naked Gun one too many times?
Said like to Chevy, but like to the writers, like that was the pinnacle of Chase humor.
God.
Wow.
You know, he sounds like Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yeah, right. I love hearing people piss. I mean, what the fuck happened to Chevy Chase in those 30 years or 20 years where he was on SNL to become that?
Well, that wasn't that long because he was in the talk show was what, like 92, 93?
93, yeah. So 17 years. What happened in those 17 years?
The movie career ended, basically. You know?
That's fair. And hey, originally that show was supposed to be hosted by Dolly Parton anyways. So, you know, it's not like they gave Chevy Chase a show. They gave him the show Dolly Parton passed on. So
interesting.
Yeah,
Which, speaking of television, the movie Groove Tube, which is a parody of television.
Of a specific time and place. Is that the ultimate problem with this movie? Is it's not timeless enough to be important?
It's not funny enough to be.
But
that's shitty.
Fine.
I don't mean.
That's fine. I
don't mean to be mean.
Overly negative Heather, folks. I like this version of Heather.
I'm sorry. It's just. I mean, this is
Heather's paying the universe back for how mean Jess was on Barfly. You can feel that reverberating through the audio sphere.
For anybody listening, and you got mad listening to the Barfly, I love Barfly, and Mickey works amazing in it. Yeah, but anywho, yeah,
Seconded. Seconded.
Thank you. No, I mean, I think the Groove Tube does have strengths to it. I think it's an interesting film, but the thing is, like, with comedy, especially for it to have that beloved place. It has to have a rewatchability factor. It has to be really funny. I mean, like, the jokes have to land. I'm not saying I've seen way worse movies and I've seen way worse comedies. That is for sure. But, you know, I think this is something I think you might have said earlier, Father Malone. Like, it's a great curio, ultimately. And curios have their place. Like, so that's not, I don't mean it's later. It's just, it's less funny than it is funny. And that's the problem with comedy. Kentucky Fried Movie still talked about to this day because it's still funny. It's just a funny movie. So, in my opinion, obviously comedy is subjective,
but does Kentucky Fried Movie have a talking cock?
You know, but that's the thing. I saw an adult film that did that earlier, and they put googly eyes on that dick. Googly eyes.
Honestly, it reminded me of It reminded me of some of the segments in Jackass. I was expecting a scorpion to come in from off screen and start stinging the penis.
And was that Shapiro's? Was that Shapiro's nads? I'm sure it was.
I don't know whose. They didn't say. You know what? I can guarantee you whose it wasn't. Chevy Chase.
Probably not.
Or Milton Berle.
Let's wait down.
If it was Milton Berle, that it wouldn't need a body. It would have a body. It would have a face. It would have feet. Milton Berle. Every time his name gets brought up, it's like we're closer and closer to invoking him back to life.
This is the remake of Candyman, but instead of Candyman,
Milty, and then you hear him. Milty. He knocks on the door before he even gets to it.
Oh my
Christ.
God! That's
HP. I'm going to kick it to you first. Final thoughts on the Groove Tube.
So to kind of piggyback on what you were saying earlier, it wasn't especially funny, especially to a modern viewer. But what makes me happy is that I'm happy that it's preserved. Like, I'm happy that I got a chance to see it, that it still exists as a thing, as we've used this word several times already, as a curio of that time and place. So I'm happy that it's there for me to see. I don't know that I'll revisit it anytime soon, if at all. But no, it's not the funniest thing I've ever seen, or not even close. But it was a good experience to see it and kind of feel the spirit of what they were trying to accomplish, even if they missed the mark more than they hit the mark. But I was happy to have the opportunity to finally see it after wondering about the movie for, decades. So yeah.
Heather, what about you?
I mean, think you can probably guess. No, I think I agree with everything HB said. There's not really much I can add to that. I think all films should be preserved. I think it definitely has an important historic place in comedic cinema and in culture. I'm good as far as revisiting it. But it is neat to see the genesis of anything, and it's great to see Belzer. The bells. Come on. I mean, I love Chase, but Richard Belzer is just, to me, just one of the coolest ever. R.I.P. So those are my final.
I'll give my final thoughts, and then Father Malone, I'll let you take us home, since it is your month, Ezra. Again, I think I agree. I'm probably going to agree with whatever you're going to say, Father Malone, obviously, but HP and Heather, I echo both of y'all as well. I think in a lot of ways, it is important to have historical context for things that, again, I mean, the good night and have a pleasant tomorrow, that ends up being a Weekend Update thing in SNL. And it's here. So even if it's just that, like you've already mentioned, SNL is coming up on its 50th year. This is an important part of that story. And if that story is something that you're interested in, which, I mean, you should, because SNL is the preeminent sketch TV show ever, I think. I mean, again, Heather, to your point, there are other things, but when we talk sketch comedy, SNL comes to mind because it's been around for so long. And even if it's not as hard hitting as it used to be, I mean, even something that I'm obsessed with in a lot of ways, similarly to you, Father Malone, The Simpsons for me is that in a lot of ways. I grew up with it. I watched it a lot as a kid. It was on when my parents were holding me when I was a child, like that same evening I was born. Like The Simpsons is intrinsically linked with me the same way SNL, I think, is linked with at least some of y'all. So I understand the diminishing returns thing, but similarly to watching stuff from the Tracy Ullman show, to see those early Simpsons sketches, to see this in a similar way, like you mentioned, Heather, to see the genesis of SNL and part of the big comedic talent that would be Chevy Chase is important. And do all the jokes land? No. But, again, we're not talking about this movie in a wider audience because they don't. So that's the reality. It's an interesting curio, but yeah, for me, that's not all of it, but it's not much more than that. So Father Malone, I'll let you bring us home.
I think with anything as niche as this film is, I can't outright recommend it to anyone but completists and historians, basically. If you're interested in this time and place, if you're interested in this group of people and their place in history, in comedy history, American comedy history, you can't help but not at least see this once. If I were to recommend this to literally anyone else, I would say, actually, don't watch the movie. Here's the thing. There are 18 sketches in that movie, and I think 6 of them work. That's 1/3, which is about the average for any anthology show or sketch comedy show in general. I don't think they work laugh out loud funny. And like I said, to a modern person who had no knowledge of any of these people or any of the setup or why it would be historically beneficial for them to view it, I would not tell them to waste their time. I would tell them to watch the Just You, Just Me sequence on YouTube, because I do think that is joyous and wonderful, and it actually makes me smile. Like, not anything makes me laugh out loud in this movie in the rewatch, but that still makes me smile. So I would recommend it on that regard. I think all of the charms, what I found intriguing about it as a lad, are all gone. All of those cows, those sacred cows, have been slaughtered by now, and not much of it works. But still recommending it for the freakazoid film fans out there who don't know about it or want to see where a lot of our future comedy came from.
Yeah. So on that note, we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for next week's episode.
Award-winning motion picture producer Samuel L. Bronkowitz.
I have spent a lifetime in the motion picture industry. Now, after 50 years in Hollywood, I have finally produced what I feel is the finest motion picture ever made. I have called it the Kentucky Fried Movie. The Kentucky Fried Movie heralds the return to traditional values.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
It is a film of heartfelt passion, a great love story.
Oh, take me to the drive-in. Prove you love me.
It explores the subtle nuances of interpersonal relationships. Of course, there are occasional moments of comic relief. The Kentucky Fried Movie is a film that demands the greatest performances from the finest actors of the cinema.
Hey, look, Wally. Wally.
I tell you, this building is unsafe.
Cities in flames! The National Guard is powerless to deal with the situation. Governor, what are we going to do?
An anticipated 10% price hike across the board on petroleum products.
I invite every man, woman, and child to share with me the joy and warmth of the Kentucky Fried Movie. It will knock your socks off.
That's right. On next week's episode, we're going to be talking about a movie that I have never seen, but just like this one. It's Kentucky Fried Movie, which I feel like I should have seen at some point. I'm glad I haven't. It's a fresh watch.
You did a podcast about the fucking suckers, didn't you?
I sure did, but that was not part of it.
Yeah.
We did Top Secret instead.
Oh, well, that's,
which I had also never seen. So.
It's a good one.
So, yeah. So we'll be doing a Kentucky Fried Movie on the next episode. So until then, where can people find you, HP?
Well, you can find me. I'm proud to be on the Weirding Way network. You can hear me and Father Malone on the Night Mr. Walters Taxi podcast. You can also, this has come up several times. Myself, Heather Drain, and Father Malone have a podcast called Noise Junkies, which I would also encourage everybody, if you're a music fan, please check it out. And hey, you can also check out, I have a Bandcamp if you'd care to hear some of my other musical nonsense. It's hpmusicplace.bandcamp.com. Please feel free to check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about you, Heather Rain?
Well, you can find me at my Linktree, which is linktree.com/Mondo Heather. And there you'll find my website, mondoheather.com, and Patreon, Noise Junkie episodes. And in fact, we have one coming up that we'll be recording very soon that will be just in time for the spooky season. Very excited about that. And all my other little sundry activities. I also highly encourage people to check out HP's Bandcamp. He made our amazing theme song for the podcast, and he is super talented. And support. And even if you don't like music, listen to our podcast, because we are amazing, and we will never lead you guys astray.
When you organically brought up the career of Joe Pesci.
Eat out my mouth.
Hey. And the fact that HP brought that up without knowing that was a thing is the best part of that episode.
Seriously.
Getting to hear you guys react to that made me happy.
Oh my God. That was amazing. Yeah, that was
a miracle.
A one of us Gooba Gaba.
Gabagooling your way into everybody. Father Malone, where can people find you and your assorted works, your body of works, your CV?
Well, for the rest of the month, once a week, you can hear me here, I guess, on the Culture Cast, helping to curate this month of sketch comedy movies. If you go to weirdingwaymedia.com, though, you can hear all the shows mentioned, Noise Junkies and Night Mr. Walters. Or I also have a half-hour radio drama called Dark Destinations that I write and produce. And you can hear Chris and I and our man in Detroit, Mike White, from the projection booth over on Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, which is a lot of fun. Check all of those out.
It's the show where Mike lets his hair down.
Yeah,
which, if you know Mike, I mean, it's impossible, but he does it.
It's a bald joke for those out there that don't know Mike White.
And if you don't know Mike White, shame on.
They do. I just don't mean. I mean personally. They don't
That's
know
fair.
him.
That's fair.
We're gonna shame you for not personally knowing.
You personally don't know Mike White. What a shame.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Speaking of Mike White, you could check out a show that I do with Mike White called the Kolchak Tapes, which we're done with over at weirdingwaymedia.com. And if you want to listen to things that are still ongoing, but not any more recent in the subject material, you can listen to The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller, a show about Barney Miller, or The Shabby Detective about Columbo. You know, we back the blue, at least the fictional blue, not the real ones, you know, because apparently we like doing cop shows from the 70s on this network. So I have no idea why, but you can find all those shows over at weirdingwaymedia.com. As for this show, culturecast.com, patreon.com/culturecast. 5, 20, and 50 are the levels you can get in at if that's a thing you're into. Cool. If not, just like, rate, and review the show wherever you get it. Father Malone, Heather, HP, thank all three of you for joining me. And also to Father Malone for starting off the month strong, I feel.
Well, in conversation, if not subject matter.
Yeah, but that's ultimately all that matters.
All right.
Because we're not sitting here watching the movie, folks. We're talking about it. If you're here to hear us recount the movie, we're not yuckity yuck McFucks on the internet making up shit. I don't know. If you're here for a book report, you've come to the wrong place, compadre, as they would say. That is what they say. And as always, Father Malone, I got to ask you first, what is the porno title for this movie? You thought, every time you think we're not going to do it, I'm just going to do it. So, HP, you've wandered into the wrong part of town. You're here for a little thing we like to call what we do every time the three of us are on the show, which is I ask them the porn parody title for the movie we just watched, which to Heather's point, I think Heather is still if there was a point tally being taken, Heather's subcolon one, I think, still stands out that we haven't remembered another one. So, Father Malone, I'll kick it to you first. Porn parody title for The Groove 2.
I guess it would be The Groove Lube.
I was going to use that.
The groove. Oh, that's a good one.
It sounds gross, right? Groove Lube.
It's like something a dirty beatnik would use.
Yeah.
The groove lube is like some sort of like mineral oil that they would use in the 70s.
It comes in flavors. Like green apple.
The container is bell-bottom shaped.
Yeah. The flavors are cigarette and patchouli. Disgusting, but delicious. Since HP is a newbie to this, Heather, I'll kick it to you. Porn parody title for The Groove 2.
Okay, I have a healthy amount of self-loathing organically, and I'm just going to add to that tonight. The Coos Tube.
Oh, wow.
Hey, you fucking coos.
I'm sorry.
Dude, what fucking movie were we watching where they used... Oh, Pope of Greenwich Village. Mickey Rourke calls Daryl Hannah a coos.
Why are you acting like such a coos? And then she punches him right in the face. It was great.
Which is the appropriate response to anybody that says that to you. Yeah.
So, HP, your time has come in more ways than one to deign us with a porn parody title for The Groove 2.
Ooh, the first thing I thought it was the Groove Lube, but I can't use that. I would say maybe the Spooge Tube.
Oh, wow, even worse. The most disgusting of all so far.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Could be.
Well, y'all know me. And, I don't know if this is one of those things where it's like, I call myself a feminist, but you're not actually a feminist. I consider myself a feminist, so I'm going to go in a different direction here. The Gruel Tube.
You know what, man?
Nobody knows. Only you knew, Father Malone.
I don't get that. What is it? Explain yourself.
I'm out, y'all.
What is it? Explain this. Explain yourself.
Woman cum.
Who calls it gruel? What kind of motherfucker
That's an online
That's
term.
That's awful. Is it from like 4chan? Is it like a bunch of incels?
Probably like Urban Dictionary, I think. I mean,
that's bullshit. That's like some Ben Shapiro shit where it's just
wait. Ben Shapiro doesn't even acknowledge that can happen.
No. But like him referring to like female wetness when he talked about WAP.
I don't think gruel was created as a derogatory term.
Gruel is fucking derogatory.
But I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's like calling, like, hey, you got some mildew. You know, it's like nasty. Gruel is nasty.
A big old bowl of gruel for breakfast.
That is awful. I've heard some horrible things. Gruel is like an old term for like nasty soup.
Porridge. Yeah.
That they give to like sad orphans.
It's spelled G-R. You'll love how it's spelled too. Gruul.
I'd rather have a makeout session with Coco the clown from Coco's room than this fucking bullshit. I hate this. I took us
Chris, way further down.
I'm disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in myself, but that's the note I want to leave.
And this is coming from
I'll bring us back up. Here's what Richard Belzer said about Chevy Chase.
Let's leave it on a real low note.
The only time Chevy Chase has a funny bone in his body is when I fuck him in the ass.
Damn.
That was Belzer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love him. I love Richard Belzer. That's, oh my God.
He also said, I've known Chevy Chase so long, I knew him when he was funny.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Also, well, you know that part, the gruel tube. I wish I didn't know that. Ew,
sorry.
Chris.
That's the one and only time I can use it because this title is just way too close. I'm not gonna be watching a Steven Seagal movie. I didn't make the term.
I know, but I'm like horrified. It's awful.
Man,
what is wrong with
the youth of today? A lot of things.
Listen, if that's what you refer to as women's lubrication, then you don't deserve to receive any. Just saying. I could quote a Prince lyric right now, but I won't.
And I think we'll leave it there, folks. On that note, we'll catch you on the next episode.